Electric cars can't go very far.
So compared to liquid fuel powered vehicles, there is some truth in this. But ask yourself, how often do you actually exceed 200 miles a day? We habitually charge our phones every day, so it's inevitable that charging your car will become somewhat habitual too in the future.
But electricity still comes from fossil fuels, right?
Yes, but far less than you might think. In 2018, for example, in the UK, as much as 30% of grid electricity had been sourced entirely from renewables. Couple that with the elimination of coal-fired power stations, as this chart nicely illustrates, and it becomes one of the cleanest grids in the world. Besides, the carbon emitted from the grid per kilowatt hour is some orders of magnitude less than burning liquid fuels in your car.
Batteries don't last very long and aren't warranted.
The battery modules in most EVs are modular, meaning they can be easily exchanged with new ones when required. It is true though that batteries in the cars they are attached to are often made by different organisations. This doesn't mean that they're not covered by warranties, and typically you'll find the warranty periods on most EVs are comparable to that of conventional cars. This therefore gives you peace of mind. Just think about the cost saving you would have by not having any oil changes, filters, fluid top-ups, mechanical failures, etc. The savings really would be massive.
They are also very difficult to recycle.
Most battery technology is founded upon lithium-ion technology these days, which can actually be recycled and at high recovery rates are achieved. Also, there is a legal obligation for batteries to be recycled. Some manufacturers even offer to take back the batteries at the end of their life and recycle back into things like mobile phones.
Building electric cars costs more to the environment than conventional ones.
This is simply not true. Yes, the batteries are resource intensive, but the car itself is no more resource intensive than conventional ones. Besides, think of the thousands of components and nasty chemicals associated with building combustion engines that, of course, in EVs aren't needed. The simple fact is that EVs in general are no more resource intensive to make than conventional vehicles. Extending their use life is, however, an advantage.
Charging is a pain and it takes ages to charge, and I don't see many chargers around here.
A few years ago, maybe, yes, this was a founded concern. However, right now, as I record this video, I see around me that there are fast charging points popping up at most retail parks, supermarkets, motorway services, side streets, etc. Sure, there isn't one on every street just now, but that will come, and I believe in the next decade that is something that will be very commonplace. What has also improved, we mustn't forget, is of course the charging time has been reduced. Even on domestic supplies between 3 and 7 kilowatts, you can now expect charge times to be under 12 hours, and some will be a lot better than that.
EVs are way more expensive.
So outright purchase prices tend to be the focus when people talk about how they can buy EVs compared with conventional cars. Electricity, we must remember, is nothing like £1.30 per litre or equivalent in kilowatts, so the savings in the day-to-day running costs soon pay dividends. As an example, say your average diesel car does 50 miles to the gallon. That means you'll be paying about 12 pence per mile. Compare that with electricity costs, this equivalent would be reduced to 2 pence per mile. So in effect you'll be saving 10 pence per mile for every mile you drive. Therefore, you can expect to achieve a net positive position on your EV purchase somewhere between 20,000 and 50,000 miles, and in some cases can be much shorter than that by the time you factor in savings from having no filters, oil changes, failed combustion engine equipment, and etc. You have none of that with an EV.
EVs are slow.
Oh no, they're not. The thing with EVs is they are direct drive. That means all of the energy is transferred to the driven wheels without converting the vertical compression energy into rotational force like you would associate with a combustion engine. The result of this is far superior acceleration and smoother power delivery than that of conventional cars. Electric vehicles aren't exciting or cool. So this is always going to be a subjective question, and if I'm being honest, I still feel personally that my old V8 banger still excites me more, just because it's noisy and it's what I've grown up to associate with an exciting car. But it is also true that there are some really sexy and exciting looking electric cars out there. Just look at the Jaguar I-Pace that I test drove. You've got the likes of Lamborghinis, Ferraris, all the big names in supercars, all giving electric offerings. I would recommend having a go at an EV, or better still, an electric go-kart, which I've had the pleasure of doing. That really makes the hairs go prickly. Of course, the whole point to the electric vehicle revolution is to reduce our carbon emissions as a human species. Social attitudes to climate change have seen a paradigm shift in recent years in favour of being green. In fact, as I make this video, a student protest was underway in the British Parliament, calling for radical climate action. This is the voice of the next generation and a show of determination that we can change our ways and move to a more self-sustaining, circular and cleaner future. So, I hope you enjoyed that video on EVs. Next time you're thinking of buying a new car or leasing a new car, then do give EVs a look and just do the maths and see if it works out for you. If you'd like to see more energy related videos and other interesting topics around climate change, then please stay tuned to the channel, hit subscribe and ring the bell for notifications. Take care and see you soon.